Welcome to the session of Transportation Engineering 2. In this session, we will see the revision of Unit 5, which belongs to Airport Engineering. So, in this Transportation Engineering 2 session, I will be talking about the important questions that can be asked from Unit 5, and we will be doing the revision of Unit 5 in this session. So, in this Unit 5, there is a chances of asking one numerical question. Basically, this Unit 5 comprises of 90% theoretical thing and 10% is numerical. A numerical can be asked on the runway length correction. So we'll look into how that runway length correction problem can be done. So let us see what all important questions that are from Unit 5. Unit 5 important questions. The first one, write about the survey for site selection of airport. As we had a survey for railway engineering, we have a survey for site selection of airport also. Basically, factors, we can write the factors that has to be considered for site selection of airport. We can go with that thing. Then next are, what are the factors to be considered for airport site selection. The next question is, what is Windrose diagram, what is its utility, what are its types, explain each type. This is one of the most important question from Unit 5. This, what is Windrose diagram. Sometimes this question is also asked in short mark questions. Just they'll use the question, what is Windrose diagram, or what are the uses of Windrose diagrams. That's it. But for 10 marks, I can expect this question for 10 or 5 marks. So in that scenario, the whole question can be asked in this manner. What is Windrose diagrams? What is its utility? What are its types? Explain each type. Then next we have, explain the procedure of orienting the runway. This is also one more way of asking the question for about Windrose diagram. The answer to the procedure of orientation of runway is nothing but the Windrose diagram. Okay. Next question we have, what do you understand by the term basic runway length? Explain the procedure of determining the actual runway length required for particular site. What do you understand by the term basic runway length? Explain the procedure of determining the actual runway length required for particular site. The next question, explain necessary airport classification. Give the different systems of classification of airport. Here they are talking about classification, airport classification, how airports are classified basically. Okay. The next question is, write about runway geometric design. Enumerate the factors to be considered in runway geometric design. And runway geometric design, what factors we need to consider, we need to answer that. The next question is about, explain how correction for elevation, temperature and gradient applied for basic runway length. In this session, we need to explain how the correction for elevation, temperature and gradient applied for basic runway length. Then write about crosswind, headwind, tailwind, wind coverage and calm period. We need to answer the questions about this: crosswind, headwind, tailwind, wind coverage, calm period. The next, generally 17th C of your question paper, University, Osmania University, external question paper, 17C consists of, write a short notes on the following. So this can be the one among that 17C, these all things, short notes on. This can be one of the thing in 17th C. So it can be crosswind component, wind coverage, runway orientation, wind rose, calm period, basic runway length, stopway, clearway, balanced field concept, airport reference temperature, standard atmosphere, airport classification, landing strip, runway side distance. This all can be in 17C of your question. Now let us see the answers to the questions. First we will start with what are the factors to be considered for airport site selection. Your answer to this. So factors to be considered for the airport site selection, these are nothing but airport site selection factors, which are nothing but the first one is airport use, the second one is proximity to other airports, third is ground accessibility, fourth is topography, fifth is obstruction, sixth is visibility, seventh one is wind, eighth one is noise nuisance, ninth one is grading, drainage and soil characteristics, 10th one is future development, 11th one is availability of utilities from towns, and 12th one is nothing but economic considerations. 12th one is nothing but economic considerations. These are nothing but factors to be considered for airport site selection. These are nothing but the factors which has to be considered for airport site selection. Go through this. Starts from regional plan also. Okay. Regional plan, airport use, proximity to other airports, ground accessibility, topography, obstructions, visibility, wind, noise nuisance, grading, drainage and soil characteristics, future development, availability of utilities from town, economic consideration. This is the answer for the factors to be considered for airport site selection. Okay, so let's go towards our next question, that is nothing but Windrose diagram. What is Windrose diagram? What is its utility? What are its types? Explain each type. This was about factors considered for airport site selection. Now we're gonna see the answer to what is Windrose diagram, what is its utility, what are its types, explain its each type. Look into this answer now. So what is Windrose? Now let us talk about Windrose. Windrose. The wind data, that is direction, duration and intensity, are graphically represented by a diagram called Windrose diagram. So the definition for Windrose diagram is nothing but the wind data, that is direction, duration and intensity. These three are important: direction, duration and intensity. Direction, duration and intensity are graphically represented by a diagram called Windrose diagram. Application of Windrose diagram is for finding the orientation of the runway to achieve wind coverage. So what is the application of Windrose diagram? Application of Windrose. What its utility? It is nothing but the answer to this question. What is its utility? Application. Utility is nothing but uses or application. Okay. Application of Windrose diagram is for finding the orientation of runway to achieve wind coverage. To achieve wind coverage, this Windrose diagram is used. The area is divided into 16 parts using an angle of 22.5 degree. the area, this windrow's area, is divided into 16 parts using an angle of 22.5 degrees. Average wind data of 5 to 10 years is used for preparing windrow's diagram. Average wind data of 5 to 10 years is used for preparing the windrow's diagram. What is windrow's diagram? What is its utility? This is the answer for these two sessions. Now, what are its type? Explain its each type. So, type. There are basically two types. Okay, windrow's method. Type 1. Type 1 is of showing direction and duration of wind. Direction and duration will be shown in type 1 windrow's diagrams. Another is type 2 diagram, which shows three things: direction, duration and intensity. In type 1 only two parameters will be shown, direction and duration. In type 2 three parameters are shown: direction, duration and intensity of wind. So when we talk about type 1, as said earlier, type 1 we are talking about what are its types of windrow's diagram, and we are explaining it. Okay, so type 1 is nothing but showing direction and duration of wind. The radial line indicates the wind direction. Let me show you the type 1 image of type 1. This is nothing but windrow's diagram type 1. This following image shows is of windrow's type 1. Okay, this following image shows nothing but windrow's type 1. These are nothing but radial lines which you can see: north, 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 east, north, east. Okay, these are nothing but radial lines. These are nothing but circles. Okay, so what does this radial line represent? The radial lines indicate wind direction and each circle represents duration. Circle represents duration. This radial line uses direction, so that's what it shows: direction and duration of wind. This direction is given by radial lines, duration is given by circles. Radial lines give the direction, circles give duration of wind. From the wind data, it is observed that total percentage of time in a year during which the wind blows from north direction is 10.3%. This value is plotted along the north direction in the figure. See, 10.3 is plotted in the north direction. This is nothing but 10th circle. So we have made a point over here. Similarly, other values are also plotted along the respective directions. All points are then joined by the straight lines. The best direction of runway is usually along the direction of the longest line on windrow's diagram. In the figure, the best orientation of runway is north-south direction. So we'll be getting these different points and we will be forming a diagram, and we'll see in this direction the longest nose is formed. Okay, the best direction of runway is usually along the direction of longest line on windrow's diagram. We'll see within this polygon, you can say closed figure. This is generally a closed figure, so polygon. Within this shape, which is the longest line, that is nothing but orientation of runway. So in this direction, north-south is the longest line, so therefore runway is oriented in north-south direction. When we talk about type 2, this is nothing but type 2, a diagram of type 2. Here three things are shown: direction, duration and intensity of wind. This is nothing but windrow's diagram type 2. Showing direction, duration and intensity of wind. type 2 showing direction, duration and intensity of wind. Each circle represents the wind intensity to some scale. The value entered in each segment represents the percent of time in a year during which the wind having a particular intensity. The procedure to draw this type 2 diagram is nothing but draw 3 equi-spaced parallel lines on a transparent paper strip. See, this 1, 2, 3. These are nothing but 3 equi-spaced parallel lines on a transparent paper. Place the transparent paper strip over the Windrose diagram in such a way that central line passes through the center of diagram. See, center line, the center line passes through the center of the Windrose diagram. With the center of Windrose, rotate the tracing paper and place in such a position that sum of all values indicating the duration of wind within two outer parallel lines oriented is maximum. We need to align this paper in such a way that we should get the sum of all values indicating the duration of winds within two outer parallel lines oriented is maximum. Maximum sum of duration of wind we should get. The runway should thus oriented along the direction indicated by center line. The wind coverage can be calculated by summing up all the percent shown in segment figure. This. So now in this case, read the bearing of a runway on outer scale of the Windrose where the central line on the paper, that is the best orientation. After finding it, in whichever direction the central line points, that is nothing but our runway direction. This was all about Windrose diagram. This is one of the very important questions from Unit 5. There won't be a paper without the term of Windrose. Either it can be asked for 2 marks, either it can be asked for 3 marks, either it can be asked for 5 marks, or either it can be asked for 10 marks. So this was all about Windrose diagram. Our next say explain the procedure of orienting the runway. This is the same as the Windrose diagram. Procedure for orienting the runway. The orientation of runway is done by Windrose diagram. So it is nothing but same as previous question. The question for explain the procedure of orienting the runway is same as previous answer. Same as previous answer, or in other cases we can use the common terminology also. Procedure for orienting the runway. Okay, we can write about runway orientation also. Okay, runway orientation is nothing but the orientation of a runway depends upon the direction of wind and to some extent on the area available for development. Runway orientation. The orientation of runway depends upon the direction of wind and to some extent on the area available for development. Runway are always oriented in the direction of prevailing wind. Determination of A runway orientation is a critical task in the planning and design of an airport. The direction of the runway controls the layout of other airports facilities such as passengers, terminals, taxiway, apron, configurations, circulations, roads and parking facilities. Crosswind component. It is not possible to obtain the direction of wind along the direction of center line of runway throughout the year. So, some day of the year or hour of the day, the wind may blow, making certain angle with the center line of the runway. If the direction of wind is at an angle to the runway, will be V cos alpha, and that the normal to the runway center line will be V sin alpha, where V is the wind velocity. The normal component of wind is called crosswind component. These are nothing but maximum values, permissible crosswind component values. The maximum permissible crosswind component depends upon the size of aircraft and the wind configuration. FAA describes 15 kilometers as maximum crosswind component for small aircraft. Similarly, FAA describes 25 km per hour for mixed traffic is nothing but maximum permissible crosswind component. ICAO gives 35 km per hour for big aircrafts, the maximum crosswind component. So this is nothing but tailwind. This direction, this arrow indicates direction of wind. Tailwind, this is tailwind, this is headwind, this is nothing but crosswind. Wind coverage. Wind coverage or visibility factors of airport is the percentage of time in a year during which the crosswind components remain within the limit at specified. Above is wind coverage. This value. If the wind is below this, then it is nothing but wind coverage. Calm period. This is the period for which the wind intensity remains below 6.4 km per hour. This is common to all direction and hence can be added to wind coverage for that direction. Calm period is nothing but 100 minus total wind coverage. Calm period is nothing but 100 minus total wind coverage. And to the last we have windrows, which we have seen in last question. We did not describe all those methods, but at least general data has to be given. What is windrows? The wind data, direction, duration and intensity are graphically represented by a diagram called windrows diagram. Application of windrows diagram is for finding the orientation of runway to achieve wind coverage. The area is divided into 16 parts using an angle of 22.5 degree. Average wind data of 5 to 10 years is used for preparing windrows diagram. This is all about procedure of orienting the runway. These all factors we need to keep in mind. Then next, what do you understand by the term basic runway length? Explain the procedure of determining the actual runway length required for particular site. We will see this answer later. Let us go to this. Explain the necessity of airport classification. Give different terms of classification of airport. We will first look into this answer. Explain the necessity of airport classification. Give the different systems of classification of airport. Airport classifications. Okay. Airport classification is first classification is done based on takeoff and landing. So based on takeoff and landing, conventional takeoff and landing airport. If the runway length is greater than 1500 meters, then we call it as conventional takeoff and landing airport. Then we have reduced takeoff and landing airport. If the runway length is between 1000 to 1500 meters. Short takeoff and landing airport. Runway length is between 500 to 100 meter. Vertical takeoff and landing airport if operational area is limited to 25 to 50 square meters. This is classification based on takeoff and landing. This classification is based on takeoff and landing. The next classification, ICAO classification based on ICAO. Based on geometric design, the classification has done using the code letters A to E, in which the A type of airport is longest runway length and E type has the shortest length. ICAO classification based on geometric design. The classification has done using the code letters A to E, in which the type A of an airport has the longest runway length and E has shortest length. Next classification is based on runway length. We have given ICAO based on runway length. Number is given code 1, code 2, code 3, code 4. These are nothing but length of runway. Again, FAA classification based on aircraft approach speed. Codes are given A, B, C, D, E based on the speeds of an aircraft. Airport classification. Based on function, we have civil aviation, international and domestic, and we have military aviation. Again, classification based on pavement strength. Again, codes are given 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 codes are given. It depends upon wheel load and wheel pressure. Generally, we call it as pavement strength. So this was about the classification of airport. Necessity of, when we say the necessity of classification, necessity is nothing but to categorize these airports for effective functioning, okay, for better maintenance and all things. The necessity of airport, that is the reason for classification of airports basically. The next questions are: write about runway geometric design, enumerate factors to be considered in runway geometric design. Necessity and factors to be considered in runway geometric design. We need to look into this. In last answer we were talking about necessity of airport classification. So I have said that the necessity, in order to provide guideline to airport designers, this classification is done. So when we talk about necessity of an airport classification, in order to provide a guideline to airport designer for a reasonable amount of uniformity in airport landing facilities, design criteria have been prepared by ICAO and FAA through airport classification. This is nothing but all about necessity of airport classification. This is all about necessity of airport classification. And now let us see the next question about runway geometric design and factors to be considered for runway geometric design and factors to be considered in runway geometric design. I'll go towards this answer. Write about runway geometric design, enumerate factors to be considered in runway geometric design. Let us find an answer for this question. So write about runway geometric design, enumerate factors to be considered in runway geometric design. The answer to this question is the following. Runway geometric design. ICAO gives various geometric standards for the airport design. Most of its member nations provide international air service. In order to have uniformity in the landing facilities at an airport, located in different countries. It is desirable to follow the common design standards and recommended by ICAO. The following are considered in the geometric design of runways. So what are the geometric design? The first is runway length, the second is runway width, the next is width and length of safety area, transverse gradient, longitudinal and effective gradient, rate of change of longitudinal gradient, and side distances. This is nothing but the answer to runway geometry. Again, if you want, you can describe this in much in detail. Runway length, what should be the runway length, runway width. So this is about runway length, this is about runway width. These are optional. Generally, okay. So main are nothing but these points. This what all includes in runway geometric design: runway length, runway width, width and length of safety area, transverse gradient, longitudinal gradient and effective gradient, the rate of change of longitudinal gradient, and side distances. The next question is, this we have seen in PDF. Now the next question is, explain how correction for elevation, temperature and gradient applied for basic runway length. This problem generally, I was talking about one numerical question, right? So there is a probability of asking the numerical questions from unit 5 based on this topic: correction for elevation, temperature and gradient. Now let us see answer to this, how the correction for elevation, temperature and gradient is applied. So basic runway length and correction. Okay, so the length of runway decided, so this all comes under basic runway length. If you want a direct thing, so it is from here. The correction for elevation, temperature and gradient. Okay, airports are constructed in different elevation, different atmospheric temperatures and gradients, and contrast to the assumption made for basic runway length. Therefore, correction required for changes in each components. So correction in elevation, how this correction for elevation is applied: all other things being equal, the higher the field elevation of the airport, results the less dense the atmosphere, requiring longer runway lengths for the aircrafts to get to the appropriate ground speed to achieve sufficient lift for takeoff. For airports at elevation above sea level, the runway design length is 300 feet plus 0.03 feet for every foot above the sea level. So ICAO recommends the basic runway length should be increased at rate of 7% per 100 meter rise in elevation. So this correction to elevation is applied by 7% per 100 meter rise in elevation over mean sea level. This was regarding correction in elevation. Correction in temperature. When we talk about correction in temperature, with the rise of reference temperature, same effect is there as that of elevation. So the airport reference temperature defined as monthly mean of average daily temperature for the hottest month of the year plus 1/3 the difference of this temperature and monthly mean of maximum daily temperature for the same month of the year. So therefore airport reference temperature is given by this formula. ICAO recommends the basic runway length after have been corrected for elevation should further increase at the rate of 1% for every 10 degree centigrade increase of reference temperature. So This should be done only after the correction of elevation. Then correction for temperature has to be done. 1% for every 10 degrees centigrade increase of reference temperature. And one more thing, there is a check for this also. The both correction increases more than 35%, ICAO recommends specific site study should be conducted. It means that both the correction, elevation plus temperature correction, should not be more than 35% of original runway length. If this occurs, there should be a specific site study has to be conducted. Next is about correction for gradient. Steeper gradient require greater consumption of energy and a longer length of runway to attain the desired speed. ICAO does not recommend any correction. In this correction for gradient, ICAO does not recommend anything. FAA recommends after correction for elevation and temperature, a further increase in runway length at the rate of 20% for every 1% effective gradient. At a rate of 20% for every 1% effective gradient has to be made in case of correction for gradient. It is specified by FAA. Okay, this was all about corrections for elevation, temperature and gradient applied for basic runway length. Now let us go to the next answer. Next answer talks about crosswind, headwind, tailwind, wind coverage and calm period. This we have already seen in runway orientation answer. The same has to be repeated. This answer to this we have already seen in runway orientation thing. Crosswind, headwind, tailwind, wind coverage and calm period. See over here we have already seen in runway correction thing. See. Crosswind component, wind coverage, calm period. This is the answer. Crosswind component, headwind and tailwind. Here we are talking about crosswind component. This we have already discussed in previous answer. What is nothing but crosswind component? What is headwind and tailwind? You can say from this diagram what is headwind. If the direction of wind and the direction of aircraft are in opposite direction, or you can say when the wind blows in the opposite direction of aircraft, it is known as headwind from this diagram. And if you see from here, if the wind direction and the aircraft directions are both one and the same, then the direction of wind is known as tailwind. This is nothing but we have described here as crosswind. Wind coverage. Wind coverage or usability factor of airport is a percentage of time in a year during which crosswind component remains within the limit as specified above. Is nothing but wind coverage. What is calm period? It is a period for which the wind intensity remains below 6.4 km per hour. This is common to all directions and hence can be added to wind coverage for that direction. And we have also one formula: calm period is equal to 100 minus total wind coverage. So this was all about the following. Now let us see the question which we have left over. What do you understand by the term basic runway length? Explain the procedure of determining the actual runway length required for particular site. Look, answer to this question. What do you understand by the term basic runway length? Explain the procedure of determining the actual runway length required for particular site. So what is basic runway length? It is the length of runway under the following assumed conditions at an airport. Basic runway length is nothing but it is the length of runway under the following assumed conditions. The first one, okay, airport altitude is at sea level. The first assumption is nothing but airport altitude is at sea level. The next assumption is temperature at the airport is standard 15 degrees centigrade. Then runway is leveled in the longitudinal direction. Next, fourth assumption, no wind is blowing on runway. Fifth assumption is aircraft is loaded to its full loading capacity. Next, there is no wind blowing en route to the destination. Seventh one, en route temperature is standard. These are nothing but assumed conditions at an airport for basic runway length. The basic runway length is determined from the performance characteristics of aircraft using the airport. The following cases are usually considered. The first condition is normal landing case. The next is normal takeoff case and engine failure case. So now look over here. For jet engines aircraft, all the three cases as mentioned above are considered. For piston engine aircrafts only the first and third case are considered. The case which works out the longest runway length is finally adopted. All three cases are illustrated. Okay. Now see the landing case, the first one, normal landing case. The landing case requires the aircraft should come to a stop with 60% of landing distance. Here the landing is done, okay, from the total runway. Suppose this is our landing distance, okay, it should stop within 60% of landing distance. The landing case requires the aircraft should come to a stop with 60% of the landing distance. The runway of full strength pavement is provided for the entire landing distance. The normal takeoff requires a clear way with an area beyond the runway. See, this is nothing but clear way, which is the area beyond the runway, and it is alignment with the center line of the runway. The width of clear way is not less than 150 meter and is to kept free from obstructions. The clearway ground area of any object on it should not protrude a plane inclined upwards at a slope of 1.25% from the runway end. See, it is described in this thing. Then we have engine failure case. In engine failure case, may be required either a clearway or a stopway or both. See, this is normal runway, stopway and clearway. For normal thing, runway and clearway only. For normal landing case, only we are considering just a runway. See the progression. Stopway is described as an area beyond the runway and centrally located in alignment with the center line of an runway. It is used for deaccelerating the aircraft and bringing it to a stop during an aborted takeoff. The strength of stopway pavement should be just sufficient to carry the weight of aircraft without causing any structural damage to the aircraft. If the engine has failed at a speed less than the designated engine failure speed, the pilot deaccelerate the aircraft and make use of stopway. If, however, the engine fails at a speed higher than the designated speed, there is no other option to the pilot except to continue the takeoff. The pilot may later take a turn in the turning zone and land again for a normal takeoff. So this is all about engine failure case. So runway length is determined by three cases. normal landing case, normal takeoff case, and engine failure case.